Hey everyone, it's Michelle, the Dreaming Dilettante, coming out to you with a different video today than I've been sharing lately. I wanted to start making some different types of things that we can use in our journals. So ephemera, collage pages. I absolutely love collage. It's one of my favorite ways to create in my art journal. And I thought it would be fun to show you some easy ways to make your own collage papers. I was inspired by a video that I saw recently, and I'm going to link that in the description box below so you can go check out another wonderful art journalist and her channel, so you can go and visit that and get some great ideas. And that's where my inspiration came from. So I'm going to be doing things a little different. The first thing I wanted to say is I'm using regular printer paper. So this is nothing fancy because we want to use it for collage. You want to have it nice and thin so that you can add layers in your journals. And the other thing, so you don't need anything special as far as paper. You could even use, if you have notebooks and you want to use some lined paper, that would work. So use whatever you have on hand. You could use newspapers if you have that, or magazine papers, junk mail, anything like that. So if you don't have any printer paper at home, don't let that stop you. Just find some sort of thin paper that you can decorate and collage over and whatever. You don't have to like what it looks like. It'll just add some background layers to get you started. The other thing is I'm going to be using all different bits that I have on hand. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. You do not need the same materials that I'm using. You can use anything that you have. I have, one of my favorite things to use are these tempera paint sticks. And I love these. They're like an acrylic crayon almost. So it's like a paint, but it goes on like a crayon, which is a lot of fun, almost like a gelato kind of thing, but they don't react with water. I have some Poscas, I have watercolors, pencils, markers, just regular, kids markers. So feel free to dig through whatever you have, and don't think that you need to have what I have. That's the most important part, because you don't need a ton of stuff to get creative. But I'm going to show you some different ways to do things, and you can use those. I'm just looking around my studio real quick. I also have some ink sprays, which I might use because those are tons of fun if you have any of those. And yeah, so I'm just going to go through, I'll show you a little bit about what I'm doing and my thought process, and then we'll just kind of see where it goes from there. So I'm going to start off, I made some of these last night. I'm going to start off with my paint sticks. And the idea is that we're not thinking is actually the real answer. We're just filling up the blank space however we want. I like to use these as, these are great warm-ups if you're feeling a little stuck. I know the video that I was watching, she said the same thing. This is great if you've lost, I think her words were, if you've lost your mojo. And that's one of my favorite things to create background pages, or just kind of start scribbling and making marks, especially if I don't know what to do. And it tends to unleash the creativity in ways that I hadn't anticipated, which is always a lot of fun. So I'm just grabbing colors that, well, I'd say that I think go well together. But I'm really trying not to think about it. You might make mud if you're not paying attention, and you know what, it's all okay. The idea is just to start, really, and have fun. I would encourage you to use this as a fun exercise, just to have a play and not really think too much. This is not fine art here, right? We don't have to think too much about this. These are actually watercolor pencils. These are the Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer Magnus colors, I think is what they're called. I just loved using them. I love the size, and they react with water, so if you get them wet, so that's something to keep in mind if it's something that you're concerned about. If you're going to collage with these and you're using a wet medium over top, they'll react with the wet medium, but that may not be a problem. Have a little bit of my coffee there. The other thing you can do, which I like to do if I'm really happy with my collage pages, is I'll scan them in if you have a scanner, and then I can print them. You print them out, and so now you have them for forever, theoretically. And then you can just reuse them over and over again, and you don't have to worry about anything reacting with water. So just something to think about. And so you can see this is just, you know, and we're going to add to these, but when you think about the fact that you're going to be tearing these up, cutting things out, these are just going to be background pages that you're creating. So you don't really have to think too much about it. And you don't have to stress about, you know, doing things in a certain way or making them look a certain, that's not what this is all about. I'm trying to pick out some colors that I didn't, because as I said, I worked on some of these last night. So I'm trying to pick some, oh, this paint's not even open. Oh, we need to use this one. And this is a great time to pull out, sorry, I didn't finish my first thought. I do that a lot. What I was trying to say is I'm trying to use some colors that I didn't make last night. But it's a great time when you're doing something like this to pull out maybe that medium that you haven't used, or one that you don't love, and just that you're going to sit and have, you know, a play with it and see what comes of it. It's a great way to use up some stuff maybe that you have sitting for a while, and, you know, let yourself have a little fun and see what comes from it. So I'm